I never thought the final words I'd hear from the man I spent 35 years of my life with would be the ones that shattered me the most. For decades, I built my world around him, trusted him, and stood by his side through sickness and health. And then, in a sterile hospital room, with machines beeping in the background and his hand trembling in mine, he spoke a truth that broke everything I believed about us. This isn't just a story about marriage, it's about betrayal, silence, sacrifice, and the one moment that can make you question whether the life you lived was ever real. Before I take you into that hospital room with me, I need you to imagine this. Giving your entire life, your youth, your love, your loyalty, only to discover that the person you trusted most had been living with secrets, doubts, or desires they never shared. And you only learn the truth when there's no time left to ask why. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share may remind you of your own unspoken pain, or of words you never had the chance to say or hear. And if my story does one thing, I hope it reminds you. Speak the truth while there's still time. The air in that hospital room was heavy, thick with the smell of antiseptic and the low hum of machines. I sat there, holding his hand, tracing the veins on his skin like I had done countless times before when we were younger. His grip was weak, but there was still that familiar warmth. For a brief moment, I convinced myself everything was going to be okay, that the man I loved would pull through like he always did. But then his lips moved, and what came out was not a goodbye filled with love, nor a thank you for the years we had shared. Instead, it was a sentence that sliced through me like a blade. He said words I never imagined would leave his mouth, words that made the decades of memories crash down like fragile glass. I blinked, thinking I had misheard him. I asked him again, leaning closer, begging with my eyes for him to take it back, to say something else, anything else. But no. He repeated himself, weaker this time, but steady enough that there was no mistaking his meaning. In that instant, the walls of the hospital felt like they were closing in on me. Every sound became muffled, every face around me blurred. It was as if my entire world had tilted on its axis, leaving me unable to find my balance. My chest tightened, not just from grief, but from disbelief. This man, the one I trusted with my youth, my body, my dreams, had chosen his final breath to reveal a truth that undid me. I wanted to scream, to shake him, to demand why he had waited until now, why he had carried this secret for so long only to leave it like a stain on my heart when he knew he wouldn't be there to face the fallout. My mind replayed the years. Our wedding day, the nights we stayed up late laughing, the struggles we endured, the children we raised. The house we built. Was all of it real, or had it been built on a lie I was only just discovering? I remember the nurse putting her hand gently on my shoulder, whispering that his time was near. But I couldn't hear her, not really. My entire being was consumed by the words still echoing in my head. It felt cruel, almost deliberate, like he had chosen the worst possible moment to unburden himself, knowing I couldn't argue, knowing I couldn't get answers, knowing he would escape the consequences. Tears blurred my vision, and I kept my face close to his, hoping he would look at me one more time, hoping he would soften, apologize, or explain. But his eyes stayed shut, his breathing shallow. And then, with a long sigh that seemed to carry the weight of his secret into the air, he was gone, just like that. I sat frozen, my hand still clutching his, my heart torn between the ache of loss and the sting of betrayal. People talk about grief as this tidal wave of sadness, but mine was different. Mine was tangled, twisted with anger, confusion, and a hollow emptiness that felt far worse than pain. Because how do you mourn a man you suddenly realize you might not have truly known? Even now, I replay that moment again and again. The hospital room, the sound of machines stopping, the silence that followed his last breath, and those words that will haunt me for the rest of my life. And I wonder, was his confession a punishment, a release, or a mistake? I'll never know. I keep going back to the very beginning, because maybe if I retrace the steps, I'll find the cracks I missed. We were so young when we married, barely more than children ourselves. I remember the lace on my dress, how it itched against my skin, but I didn't care because all I could see was him standing at the end of the aisle. His smile was wide, confident, the kind of smile that made me feel safe. That day, I thought I had won the lottery of love. I thought he was the man who would protect me, cherish me, grow old with me. For 35 years I clung to that belief, even when times got hard, even when life knocked us down. We built everything together from the ground up. A modest house with peeling wallpaper that we slowly turned into a home. The late nights where we counted pennies, deciding whether to pay the bills or buy the kids' shoes. He used to tell me we were a team, that no matter what, we had each other. And I believed him, because his voice was steady and his arms were strong. I believed him because I wanted to. When our first child was born, I saw a new side of him. Softer, more tender. He would cradle the baby in the crook of his arm and hum, off-key but full of love. I remember watching him from the doorway, a feeling like my chest might burst with gratitude. That memory is seared into me, the smell of baby powder, the gentle sway of his body, the promise in his eyes. How do I reconcile that man with the one who broke me in a single sentence on his deathbed? There were arguments, of course. No marriage survives decades without scars. He could be stubborn, closed off. Sometimes he worked too much. Sometimes he drank more than he should have. I covered for him when the kids asked questions. I smoothed things over at family gatherings when he lost his temper. But I told myself every relationship had flaws. I told myself love was about endurance, about staying even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Now, sitting here in the quiet of my own mind, I wonder if I mistook endurance for blindness. Did I ignore signs? Did I look away when the truth was right in front of me? There were nights he didn't come home right away, times when he was distant, unreachable even when he was sitting right next to me. I filled in the blanks with excuses. Work stress, exhaustion, his way of coping. I chose to believe the version of him I had built in my head, not the version he might have actually been. The children adored him. He was the fun parent, the one who let them stay up late, who slipped them candy when I wasn't looking. I was the disciplinarian, the one who worried about homework and curfews. They ran to him with their joy, and to me with their tears. That dynamic worked for us, or at least I thought it did. Now, I wonder if he enjoyed being the hero because he knew someday I would be left to carry the burden of his truth. As the years went on, the wrinkles deepened on our faces, but I thought our bond deepened too. We survived financial struggles, health scares, even the heartbreak of losing a parent. I thought we survived together. And maybe that's why his final words cut so deep. Apply. Because they didn't just undo the last few years. They unraveled the entire thread of our marriage, from day one to that hospital bed. I keep hearing it, over and over, like a curse whispered in the dark. 35 years, shattered. All the sacrifices, all the compromises, all the love I poured into him, reduced to nothing in a moment I will never escape. The thing about last words is that they don't just fade away when the breath does. They linger, they echo. They crawl into the quiet moments and whisper when you least expect it. His words have lived rent-free in my mind every single day since that night in the hospital. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat, hearing them as clearly as if he were lying beside me. Other times they sneak into the most mundane moments, pouring coffee, folding laundry, watching the sun dip below the horizon. A normal day turns into a battlefield because I can't escape the echo of betrayal. At first, I thought maybe it was shock, that maybe I had misheard him. Grief plays tricks on the mind, doesn't it? It warps reality. I replayed that moment hundreds of times, searching for a different version, one where his lips formed other words. Words of love, words of gratitude, words that would give me peace instead of breaking me apart. But no matter how much I twist and turn it, I always land on the same truth. He said what he said, with intention, with clarity, and with no chance for me to ever demand the why, and that's what hurts the most. The silence that followed. He left me with questions that will never have answers. Did he love me all those years? Was everything we built together a facade? Did he stay out of convenience, duty, or guilt? Was I just a placeholder for someone else he truly wanted? Or worse, was his secret about betrayal I can't even begin to stomach? Every possibility burns, and I have no way of knowing which one is true. I've thought about asking others, our children, old friends, anyone who might have glimpsed something I didn't. But then, I stop myself. What if they knew? What if they suspected and said nothing? That thought terrifies me more than ignorance. Because ignorance is painful, but betrayal by those you trusted most is lethal. So I sit with my questions, alone, circling the same dark maze without an exit. There's anger too, anger that he robbed me not only of peace in his final moments, but of peace for the rest of my life. When someone dies, you're supposed to remember the good, the anniversaries, the trips, the laughter. But he tainted those memories, stained them with a truth I can't untangle. It feels like he left me shackled, carrying the weight of his secret while he slipped away free. And yet, a small traitorous part of me still aches for him, for the man I thought he was, for the love I thought we had. That's the cruelty of it. Grief and betrayal live side by side in my heart, like enemies forced to share the same room. I miss him, and I hate him. I long for his presence, and I resent every breath he took before shattering me. It's a tug of war I can't win. There are moments when I think about telling our children what he said. Part of me craves to unload the burden, to let them carry even a fraction of what he left me with. But then I see their faces, their love for their father still intact, still whole, and I can't do it. Why should I destroy their memories too? Why should I pass this poison along? So I swallow it down, paste on a smile, and let them keep the version of him that I can never have again. That choice makes me feel invisible sometimes, because no one sees the storm inside me. No one knows that every family dinner, every birthday, every holiday is haunted by the ghost of his final words. I laugh when they laugh. I nod when they reminisce, and inside, I'm screaming, but no one hears it. No one can. Because I've decided to protect them from the truth that has already destroyed me. Still, late at night, when the house is quiet and the world has gone to sleep, I let myself feel it. I let the tears come. I let the questions burn. And I wonder if I will ever find peace, or if his last words will be the chains I carry until my own final breath. I sometimes wonder if he knew exactly what he was doing when he chose those words. Maybe it wasn't a slip. Maybe it wasn't delirium from the medication. Maybe it was intentional, his last chance to control me, to make sure that even after his death I'd never feel free, because that's the truth of it. I don't feel free. I feel chained to a ghost, and no matter how much I try to cut those chains, they rattle louder every time I'm alone. Some nights, I pace the house we built together. Every room holds a memory, and every memory feels like a question mark now. Did he mean it when he held me close after our first child was born and whispered, "We did it, together"? Did he mean it when he promised me forever in front of everyone we loved? Or were those words just placeholders until he revealed the truth in his final hour? The cruelty of it is that I will never know, and that uncertainty is its own kind of death sentence. I've tried distracting myself. Travel, hobbies, volunteering. I smile when people ask how I'm doing. I tell them I'm fine, because how could they possibly understand? How do you explain that 35 years of your life were shattered in a single sentence, and that sentence wasn't even a confession you could work through? It was a dagger plunged into your soul, leaving you bleeding with no closure. The human heart wasn't built for this. We're built to endure grief, yes, but betrayal. Betrayal corrodes you from the inside out. It makes you doubt your instincts, your memories, your worth. If I could be deceived for 35 years, what does that say about me? Was I blind, naive, or maybe I didn't want to see the truth because it was too painful to admit? That thought alone keeps me up at night, staring at the ceiling. I'm bargaining with myself over what was real and what wasn't. And yet, life moves on. That's the strangest part. Bills still come. The sun still rises. The world still spins. People laugh, fall in love, start families, all while I carry this secret weight. Sometimes I envy them, their innocence, their unbroken hearts. They get to live without hearing echoes that destroy everything they thought they knew. But you, yes, you watching this right now, you understand, don't you? Maybe you felt it too. Maybe someone you trusted, someone you gave your whole life to, left you with scars you can't explain to anyone else. Maybe you're sitting there nodding, whispering, "Yes, that's me." If you are, then hear me when I say this. You are not alone. I may not have answers, I may not have peace, but I have this moment, this voice, this story, and maybe, just maybe, sharing it will keep me from drowning in silence. So I'll leave you with this question. If you were in my shoes, would you want to know the truth behind those words? Or would you choose ignorance, bury the pain, and let the illusion live on? I want to know. Tell me. because maybe your answers can help me find a sliver of clarity in this endless fog. And if my story touched something in you, if you've ever been betrayed, abandoned, or left with questions you'll never have answers to, don't just keep that inside. Speak it, share it, because secrets have a way of eating us alive.